Third Party Podcast Season 2, Episode 6 with Erron JYD Peterson.
I'm Erron JYD Peterson, and I'm here with the Third Party Podcast.
Yo, it's Muslim Casey, a.k.a. the Muslim Boxer, a.k.a. Mr. NyQuil, a.k.a. Mr. 12-0, 9 KOs. We here with the co-host, the special co-host, Rod DeVoe.
Yo, Rod DeVoe, Third Party Podcast. What's good, man?
I'm chilling, man. How was your weekend?
Weekend was good, man.
Who we got today?
So today, man, it's dope that we got one of my young boys, man. Watched him come up, grown man now doing his thing. We got Erron JYD Peterson.
Yes, sir. Welcome,
What's good
brother.
with you, man?
I'm good, man. How y'all feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. So you a father, husband, son, digital content creator. You do voiceovers, and you started a series of skits called Just Doing Stuff, right? All right. You also a pro boxer with a professional record, 6-0 with 5 knockouts.
Yes.
What's good with you, man?
I ain't got no complaints. I'm great,
Yeah.
mashallah. Everything is everything. I ain't, another day.
What led you into boxing?
Well, one, my dad, who's off camera over there. I'm breaking the fourth wall, y'all. So he been telling me to box since I was like, I think 17. But I don't do nothing that my heart's not into. And at the moment, my heart wasn't into it because I was a dumb young kid. I'm gonna be honest. Like, I'm just call it what it is. I was a dumb young kid, and I was outside doing bad stuff at the time. Years later, I had a daughter, my first child, and she had around 3 months. Around 3 months, I want to say, she ended up getting open heart surgery. She had mitral valve regurgitation. Basically, 2 valves in the heart. One releases blood, and then the other one takes it in. But the one that releases blood, the valve on it is too short, so the blood come out, and then it falls right back in. So when the blood comes out, it's deoxygenated. When it goes back in, it's oxygenated. Like, it's oxygenated blood, so it comes out oxygenated, and it goes in deoxygenated. The heart gives it oxygen. So the valve was too short, so it was making her heart swell up like real bad. We didn't know at the time because everything when she was born, everything was fine. And then one day we went to CHOP because she was breathing a little heavy, but we just thought it was bronchiolitis again because she had bronchiolitis prior to that. Like when she was 11 days old, they gave her medication and everything. She was fine. So when we go back this time, the doctor was just like, he checking her out, and he was just like, okay, so, how long has she had the heart murmur? And me and my wife was like, what? So he kind of like backed off and was like, oh, y'all didn't know? And we like, what you talking about? So he was like, well, I'm not a cardiologist, but I can get the cardiologist right now. And, but it sounds like it's a murmur. So then Dr. Rome, that's the cardiologist, he comes in, he says it's not a murmur, but it's something else. Then we found out it's mitral valve regurgitation. And then at that moment, I'm like, all right, one, I already got a daughter. I got my family.
How old are you at this time?
My daughter's 5, 6 years old. So I was 22. I was like 22 years old, 21, 22. At that moment, I'm like, all right, like I was already on track to really, really get myself together anyway. Like I started to chill out maybe like a year or so prior to that, but I was really getting myself together at this time, like really maturing and not being a butthead. At that moment, I'm like, all right, something got to give. So then I told my pop, I'm like, all right, like something got to give. He said, yo, box, dog. Like you can fight, box. So I'm like, all right, come on. So he called Naeem, my brother Naeem, the Dream Nelson. He called up Nah. Nah said, yeah, I'm going to take him under my wing. And then the rest been history from there. That's what made me actually start boxing. I'm like, I don't want to do this. Because I ain't a 9-to-5 guy. I hate 9-to-5s. That's not me. I get that from him. He never had a 9-to-5 in his life. I didn't want to work no job. I hate working jobs. I don't like it. It's a miserable feeling. It just feel like you going to die. 9-to-5 feel like you going to die. I don't like it.
I understand.
Hate
I've
it.
had like 14 jobs.
Yeah.
Trust me, I know.
I don't like it. So I'm like, dog, I don't want to do this forever. And I'm like, man, I can beat people up. Then when I started boxing, I'm like, oh, like I can train and like beat people up and like I'm good at this. So I was just like, I'm doing this. And it's a whole story that came behind this. I guess we'll get into that later if we got time. But It wasn't easy. It was a lot that went on to this. Shout out to my pop, man. He ain't rich, but boy, oh boy, he done gave everything he got to this. I ain't gonna lie. Mashallah, because I ain't gonna hold you.
So what was it like when you first get into boxing? What, 21, 22?
21, 22.
I got into it at the same year, 21.
Yeah.
Were you timid in the ring?
Nah.
You just,
I remember my first real spar was actually against against a pro fighter. And it was really good work. And like that's when I knew my coach at the time, he knew, and everybody was like, oh, this kid can fight. But I've been knew I could fight because how I grew up. I wasn't never scared to fight because again, I was outside doing bad stuff. So I wasn't never worried. Fighting was the least of my worries. I don't care
when
about
you say
nobody.
how you grew up, like what you saying, because you're saying something without saying it.
right.
We all fight. My brother, my sister, she can fight. She's not necessarily a fighter, but she can fight. My cousin Zoo, that's like my older sister. My cousin Zoo, she's a monster. My dad was a monster. My mom was a monster. My aunt Sophia was a monster. His sister, my aunt Corinne, was a monster. Like if you go to my hood right now and ask about them, they're gonna be like, yeah, that's all they used to do. Like I come from fighters. My brothers, that's all we do. All we did was fight, and we just did a lot of bad stuff growing up.
Did you have a big amateur record?
No.
How many fights did you have?
I had 6 fights. I was 6-0 with 5 knockouts as an amateur.
As an amateur?
As an amateur. We would go to shows. My papa tell you, we would go to shows and they'd be like, no, we know him. We're not fighting him. My last fight was Army versus Philly, and I stopped that guy, and then that was it. They was like, we're not fighting him no more. I was 6-0, 5 knockouts. After that, I started getting in camp with all professional fighters.
Talk about your first pro fight.
People don't really understand. In the amateurs, the gloves, the gloves are actually significantly bigger because they 12 ounces in the AMD. They padded at the top and all that. Yes, USA boxing don't play that.
Yeah, they real padded.
Yeah, real padded.
You hurt your wrist too.
Yeah, oh, you can absolutely hurt your wrist if you don't punch.
If you're a big puncher.
Yeah, especially if you. So I learned even in the gym, I had to double wrap and I had to wrap a certain way because you'll ruin your hands. Mm-hmm. And I remember my first pro fight. People don't really realize. First of all, the headgear is a target, and you don't realize that until you are in that situation. So when I first got in the ring, I remember walking to the ring, and I had butterflies.
Remember how you felt in the locker room? Yeah,
I do.
How'd you feel?
How I feel every time. I always get butterflies. I always do. I always get butterflies. It was the same way with football. No matter what, I always get butterflies. And then once I got into the ring, I'll never forget, they messed our songs up too. They gave me his song and gave him mine.
What'd you come out to?
I can't remember what the song was for him that he came. I was so mad. And I remember walking to the ring, I had butterflies. And then when I got in the ring, I still had the butterflies. And once the bell rang, everything went away. Everything went away. Once the bell rung, everything went away. I ain't feel nothing no more. And I was like, it reminded me of football when I played middle linebacker. Once you make first contact, we working now. Yeah. When the bell rung, that's what it was for me. It was like, oh, I'm here. I'm here.
Ain't no way out now.
Ain't no way out now. And it was good. And then I realized he don't got no headgear on. And the headgear is a target. So now I'm just like, I actually got to look for this nigga's head because like, it's not a target there no more.
Right.
And then I remember getting caught with a shot. And I'm like, oh yeah. Like, yeah, you feel this. I like that. And then I caught him with a shot. And then one thing with football, I remember the reason why I love playing linebacker, when you hit a guy a certain way, like I ain't care about like I knew my plays and all that, but like I ain't care about enough. I just wanted to hit people. And when you hit a guy and they make a certain noise, you like, oh yeah, I like that. And that's what I loved about it.
I got you.
I like that.
It's so crazy because like when I saw that you went into boxing, it just made sense. You know what I'm saying? Like I know him from a young, wild, like
complete sense.
It just always made sense. How has boxing had an impact just on your life?
I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be real. 2 things had the biggest impact on my life as far as me changing my life. And a lot of I don't say this as if it's a good thing because it's not a good thing. But it wasn't necessarily even my first daughter that changed my life. It really wasn't. I still was doing knucklehead stuff at that time. Well, sometimes when you get so deep into stuff, like I ain't gonna lie, like yeah, you kind of forget like you lose who you are in that sense. Like you can get pulled away from who you are so far just from being in the street so much. Like you look in the mirror and you don't even know who you are no more. So my first daughter really didn't change me. Two things changed me, and it was poetry and it was boxing. Poetry and boxing is the only two things that really realistically changed me, because with poetry I was able to like I knew I was good at it, but I was able to express myself in a certain way, and it's like I'm also being heard. We do need to learn to express ourselves, and with poetry, I learned to express myself and be heard and do it in a creative way. People say like God works in mysterious ways. No, Allah is just the best of planners. Dog. Ain't no God works in mysterious. Allah is just the best of planners. Poetry was only supposed to take me so far anyway.
I remember when you was doing poetry.
Yeah, the reason why I say
you was a spoken word dude.
Yeah, so it's funny. I actually got picked on the team to go to nationals. Nationals just so happened I didn't at the same time I'm doing poetry, crushing it. Then we found out my daughter needed open heart surgery, and then nationals fell on the same week as my daughter open heart surgery, and it was in Chicago, so I didn't go.
Oh, wow.
Of course not, I didn't go because I had to be there for my daughter, and if I would have went I would have missed my daughter's surgery, which I wasn't doing. And then after that I didn't write poetry again for years because it was too much to write, because I lived in the hospital. After my daughter had the surgery, I lived in the hospital for months.
When you say too much to write, what you mean?
All right, so my man Enoch, shout out to Enoch the poet. He's a monster. That's my guy. He has a line that's similar to saying like where we hollow ourselves out to the point where we become more casket than person. The best poets are depressed. And a lot of people don't understand it because the best poetry comes from an uncomfortable place. A lot of people don't really dig that. All my best works is me talking about extremely deep trauma and extremely deep situations, and I do it in such a creative way. And I call it prostituting our pain, because like we do it and we kill it. And then people are like, yes, want to kill yourself some more. It's crazy, like, because you don't really know.
Right.
Like, you don't, like, they just hear it as the entertainment and the, oh my God, he or she is so good with words. We lived in the hospital for so long and CHOP for so long, it literally is a certain section with heart patients.
Right.
It's like a neighborhood. We all come out at the same, like you live there. And we all know each other. The staff knows us, and when you live there for so long, you don't even remember what your house is like. That's your house. People don't realize how much beep, beep. You hear that heart monitor every day. And you don't realize that can give you PTSD as well. Because when I went home and I heard a microwave, I'm jumping out of my sleep. If my wife was warming something up or the fire alarm go off, I'm like, any beep, it drives you crazy. And then just seeing my daughter be there, be essentially dead. They had to give her morphine to wean her off of fentanyl, because people don't understand how the body works, dog. That is a child. It's a 3-month-old child having open heart surgery. A grown-up is going to go through hell with that process. I wrote one more poem about how the hospital is my home, and my daughter is like, basically we in a car. The first time we ever left the hospital, we in a car, and we went home, and my daughter wasn't in the car seat, and it broke me. And that was the last poem I wrote for years, because I couldn't write no more. I just couldn't keep hollowing myself out no more.
Right.
And that's when I stopped writing poetry.
So you said that poetry and
boxing is what changed me.
So in the terms of boxing, like what kind of impact has it had like on your life?
Yo, you better learn how to get punched in the face and not get mad. Yo, for real, like, you gotta learn how to get punched in the mouth.
This definitely was a young boy with anger issues, bro.
Yeah,
I ain't gonna hold you. What?
You gotta get punched in the mouth and not be mad.
Right.
Not get emotional. That'll get you killed in the ring. You get emotional, that'll get you killed. I don't feel. That's why people ask me all the time, like, what you listen to before a fight? Podcast. I don't listen.
Oldies.
I don't see me. I can't listen to music at all before fights.
Oldies, and I listen to like 90s hip hop.
That's a good genre.
Something that make me think. People be pissed. They're like, why are you listening to this?
Yeah.
But it's because you gotta stay calm.
You gotta stay calm. I don't know if y'all, I might be out of pocket for this, but like Mythical Kitchen Yo, it's a
Mythical
YouTube channel.
Kitchen.
It's a YouTube channel. Mythical Kitchen, Good Mythical Morning. I listen to Mythical Kitchen like in the locker
This is a
room. for, like,
podcast.
it's a podcast. Yo, it's the best one of the best podcasts ever. I listen to murder mysteries before, like while I'm in the locker
like
room.
it.
Right now, Neil deGrasse Tyson, huge on that guy right now, astrophysicist. I don't know, man. Like his stuff, I fell on a wormhole of Neil
So
deGrasse
you gotta
Tyson.
think.
Yeah, it's just so cool to me. It calms me down. I'm like, I did not know. That's why we can't. I'm gonna keep it short, yo.
I did not know.
Yo, cause listen, I'm gonna keep it short, right? But listen, yo, the reason why we can't. All right, so people always be like, yo, like, how does time machines work? You know why we can't time travel? Because time is actually based off of the speed of light. It's off like, okay, you can only see what light shows. All right, so I'm gonna
go straight into. We talking about boxing, and this is. But I want to stop you there because this is something that's a lot of people do not understand because you have to accept death.
Yes.
In order to go into that ring.
Yes.
Because there's somebody out there to kill you.
Yes.
It's funny you talk about poetry, emotions.
Yes.
In the same line you talk about boxing. I feel like the average person is like, yo, these boxers is just some ogre, ready to destroy. And I understand that once you get in the ring, but you can't constantly exist in that state.
Dog, two things. One, if we being realistic, like I'm being realistic here, and I don't even mean to toot my own horn. Dog, it's very few people in this city that can see me with a pen. And I say that as humbly as possible. It's like very few people that can see me with a pen if you're talking about poetry. Like I'm talking about you can't even stand in the same room as me, respectfully. That's one. So like, don't think just because I punch people in the face.
Might have to spit some after the show.
I don't have no problem with that.
I might have to hear some.
Yeah, respectfully, respectfully, I'm not there.
I'll tell you what, boxers are definitely confident.
Yeah, our hubris is crazy.
Yeah, I didn't get picked up to represent Philly in the Nationals for nothing. Right. Poetry aside, listen, it takes 8 minutes for the rays of the sun to get to the earth. Right now, if the sun, listen, this is facts. If the sun, let's just say the sun blew up right now, boom, no more sun. We would not know until after 8 minutes because that's how long it takes the rays for it to get here. So after 8 minutes, then we be like, oh my God, what happened to the sun? So y'all gotta understand, like when you get into astrophysics, like the science behind why like light is the way it is, lights and stars and bro. Of course, Allah created everything, but He created that. You have to understand how things work, and the more you understand how things work, the more you understand that Allah is real.
So
it's crazy, bro.
This is everything that's going on in your locker room.
I'm listening to Neil deGrasse Tyson in Mythical Kitchen.
So it's another joint called Third Party Podcast. You gotta add that.
Oh, yeah, of course.
You gotta add that. Third Party. No, listen. Culture, faith, excellence. Third Party Podcast.
Third Party Podcast, right? And let me tell you how sturdy these guys are, right? This guy punches people in the face, right? And then he still has the wherewithal to come in here, right, and interview people.
What do you love about boxing?
The discipline that it gives you. You know how I knew I became disciplined with boxing? Like. And this is me bad. I told you, bro, I'm not even going to sugarcoat it. I'm going to call it what it is.
Say what you got.
How I knew I became disciplined with boxing, yo.
I know where you about to go.
I stopped arguing with my wives.
Oh.
Mashallah, I'm in polygyny, right? So I love both my wives to death. Right. And they are both amazing at different things. So content creation and understanding the math and the algorithm behind it. Deja's a monster with it. She's a monster. Cooking. And having paperwork in order, Bree, monster. Let's just say my fight is on Saturday. We weigh in on Friday. If it's my week to be with Deja and it's fight week, I'm with Deja up until Thursday night. And then I'm going back to Bree because I'm going to be right for this fight.
Do you face any challenges being Muslim and being a boxer?
I said I wasn't going to sugarcoat nothing. So all right, I keep giving that disclosure because I don't want to.
You don't
have, bro. This is the Third Party podcast. You free.
We don't need disclaimers.
Listen.
Bro, I'm a Muslim first, yes, but I'm a nigga right after. I'm gonna be honest, like I'm gonna be real. I'm a nigga right after, dog. And I got this whole thing.
So okay, I'm gonna take you at that. But when you Like I need some
Yeah,
characteristics.
we need some context.
I need some.
Well, yeah,
I'm gonna
we
give
need
you the
some-
context right now.
All right,
need
'cause I
some
need
context.
I'm gonna give you background on what I'm saying.
So for somebody that don't know what that
Yeah,
means,
what-
they're not from where we from.
I'm gonna tell you what it.
I
I'm gonna
need
tell you what
adjectives
it means. I'm
and
gonna give you
adverbs.
everything.
All right.
I got you. I'm a Muslim first. I'm a nigga directly after. So I got this whole thing that I've carried over from when I was being a knucklehead in the street. And if you can't beat me or you can't kill me, your opinion means nothing to me. And I have a theory where even if you pulled it out on me and you could have put the gun to my head and pulled the trigger, it's going jam. I just don't believe no nigga gonna kill me. That's how I got through when I was in the street. I don't think you gonna kill me. And I'm gonna get to you before you get to me anyway. So we don't even play like that. So if you can't beat me or you can't kill me, it means nothing to me. So me being a Muslim and a boxer, the reason why I say this is because like I hate when people try to get like on social media and try to act like they know what they talking about with Islam. Like, bro, I'm gonna keep it a bean. Like, you think you gonna hadith me to death or fake Quran me to death, bro? You're not gonna do that to me. Cause first of all, I heard you recite. And you sound like, no, respectfully, I heard you recite, bro. And I know you sound like a new shahada, bro. So you can't even talk to me when you can't even get through Qul huwallahu ahad without stumbling.
Here's the thing though. Is that being a nigga or is that just being genuinely you?
I think genuinely me is a nigga, bro.
Because here's the thing. There's, the N word that people use, and there's a black man.
I'm a little bit of both. Let's be fair.
You are genuine. I just think you're a black man that's unapologetic. He hate that because I use it all the time. But same thing with me. You unapologetically you.
Yeah.
So you gonna do you if you by yourself or you on camera.
Yeah.
Which has nothing to do with, and that's just you being Muslim. That's you being you.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what you are. That's just you being you. So I can't even agree with you to say that's
the reason why I say it like
because you chose not to be a nigga because you stopped fighting in the streets.
Once you a nigga, you always gonna be a nigga. You gotta learn how to control it. Nah, for real, yo, you gotta learn how to control it. Let me tell you why.
It's in you, but it's not in you. You ain't gonna do it.
Exactly.
That's what a black man is.
Okay.
That's what a black man is.
I'll put it like this, right? Don't violate me, right? Let's just say we both Muslim, right?
Right.
Don't violate me or play tough guy or like violate me. Like one thing I don't play disrespect. Then don't tell me the limits to go when you disrespect me. Like once you disrespect me, don't say all he did was such and such. You ain't had to take that. No, I'm gonna take it as far as I want to. Don't do that. So people always try to like violate and then be like, oh, when you get out of pocket, oh bro, stuff full up. Nah, bro, I'm gonna punch the stuff full up right back in your mouth, bro.
You ever heard the term like don't bring the nigga out of me?
Don't bring the nigga out of me.
That's what that is.
Because don't violate me and then say stuff full up. I don't like when people do that. Oh bro, stuff yeah.
You mentioned you were born Muslim, and this is something that I ask people. Can you think of a time when you actually like chose it though? Like you born Muslim,
yeah.
But I think everybody has to choose.
So 9/11 happened. And like I remember being in class and like everybody looking like at me and my sister like I'm like I was a kid and I'm like, bro, I ain't had nothing to do with that. Like you mean and you just like you it's either you gonna wear that or you gonna crumble. And it's just like I'm gonna wear that.
What's the difference that you see with the older generation Muslims and your generation of Muslims?
Oh, that's easy. It's easy. The older generation stood on their Islam, right?
I mean, you don't think that's coming off a bit judgmental?
No, I don't.
Why?
See, I'm gonna tell you why.
I mean, you don't know where Allah is at with anybody, right?
Of course, your actions show out on your limbs. What you love in your heart shows out on your limbs. So if you love right now, I always give people a scenario. If you ain't eat in 3 days and you got a child, your daughter, y'all ain't eating 3 days and you come across food, you eating that food first or you gonna give it to her? You gonna give something to her?
Give it to a child.
Exactly. You know why? Because you love her and it shows on your limbs. So don't be in here saying, oh, you know where my heart is. Yes, I do. And you know where my heart is too. Because what's in your heart shows on your limbs. No, listen. If in fact you love what you love, you can't tell me I don't love boxing. You know how you can't tell me you don't love boxing? I don't love boxing. You know how? Because I get off work. It's some nights I get off work at 5 a.m. and I drive an hour home. So I'm not getting home till 6 a.m. I go to sleep for 2 hours and I get up and I go run track with Breadman and Kyron and Julian. Or I go to the gym and I still put in my work on the gym. And then I come back home after being out there for 2-3 hours and then sleep for 3 more hours and go right back to work after that. You know why I do that every day? Because I love boxing. You can't tell me what's not in your heart doesn't show out on your limbs. What's in your heart shows on your limbs. So if everybody sins, that's not what I'm not getting nobody because they sin. Nah. Okay. But what you are not going to do is take your Islam and spew it all over the place like, oh, bro, That don't give you no pass.
Do
Like
are
you
you
think the
saying-
rules don't apply to you because
But
you
are you
my
saying
brother?
this? Are you saying this because this is what's going on right
This
now?
is what's going on right now. This is what's going on right now. So if we're gonna talk about like if we're gonna talk about Islam and we're gonna talk about like being Muslim, dog, you gotta understand, like, do it. What I don't like I said, people think that they can pick and choose. I sin, you sin, we all sin.
The indictment that people are saying that they're wrong is right.
People do that all the time in Philly. Where y'all don't be in Philly or something?
Listen, I'm in
Bro,
the
don't
house,
tell
bro.
me you've been Muslim for 10 years and you only know 2 surahs. I don't even care about
Well-
that, bro. No, wait a minute. No, hold on. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. No, hold on. Let's be clear. Let's be clear. You mean to tell me? Nah, I'm being real right now. You mean to tell me that you know that new Jeezy album, but you don't know that old surah? Bro, you can look. I'm not saying you gotta be Hafiz. I'm not saying that people don't struggle with stuff, but bro, you've been Muslim for 20 years. You don't know 2 surahs, bro. You're not even trying, bro. That's not something that that's not something. Wait a minute. That's not something that you love in your heart. That's not something that you love. You can't let a Quran in your heart if you don't even ever pick it up.
How about this?
If you let a Quran in your heart, then you're going to pick it up. You're going to pick it up. You're going to read it. You're going to study it.
I was embarrassed to be Muslim when I was younger. Probably when I was like 21. And I didn't realize how much the Quran meant to me till about 4 years ago.
Listen to what you just said.
But if
Nah,
4 years,
listen to what you just said. I didn't realize until 4 years ago what it meant to me, right?
Right.
So, and when you said I was embarrassed to be Muslim,
right,
and which believe me, I do understand because I grew up Muslim in Philly. I understand exactly what you mean. But you said I didn't realize how much it meant to me
right,
until 4 years. Meaning when you was going through that struggle, you might not have loved it. You might not have loved it the way you did. But then when you realize how much it meant to you, that is what brought on the love. That is my point. If you loved it at that moment, then you would have knew, like, damn, this means everything to me. But then when you got older and you went through your own experiences, then you said, I love it. I'm not saying nobody can turn around. I'm not saying nobody can't make you turn. What I'm saying is, in the moments where you was like, you didn't love it.
right.
You didn't love it. And now you realize what it means to you. And now you do love it. Just because you learned, I know people that know the whole Quran, basically, and you will never know by the action.
I memorized the whole Quran.
And that's my point. But again, you didn't love it. So just because you can parrot words respectfully, just because you can parrot words don't mean that you love it. While you're getting there, not talking about you in general, but I'm just saying, while you're getting there, do not make your sins a thing that's okay.
So
I know it's wrong.
there's a couple things. One is that I'm gonna say that I feel like we put being Muslim into this box. I don't even like using the word religion, right? Because what we do for law permeates through all these different actions.
Yes.
It's something that he's good at.
Yes.
That is his focus.
Absolutely.
Of how he worship. It's something that you good at.
Yes.
That's your focus of how you worship.
Yes.
Something that I'm good at.
Yes.
What I see him do, I'll be like, man, like I don't do that. You see what I'm saying? So I think that it's a boy that might only know 2 surahs. He might be the boy that keep the masjid. He might be the boy that donate. You see what I'm saying? Like, so I'm not gonna say
showing his actions. What you're saying?
But what I'm saying, you can't boil it down to
me saying only knowing 2 surahs is just an example. But of course, if he loves it and he's keeping the masjid clean, that's 2 different. That his actions.
But what I'm saying is all worship. If you bless with recognition or something,
yes,
it's a privilege that you have.
Right.
It's a privilege that you have to have a certain awareness.
Yes.
That somebody else might not have. And appreciating the privilege, for the most part, I'm not concerned. You see what I'm saying? Like, I'm gonna take you on face value.
Right.
And I'm not concerned with, man, this boy only know 2 surahs. You see what I'm saying? Now, I think that when we talk about character,
yes,
like that plays a role into it. And I just think we gotta really think about how we assess that and how we talk about that and how we deal with that. You know what I mean? And how we view it. I could remember thinking like you and feeling like you. I could remember thinking like you and feeling like you.
Yes.
And I compare that to where I'm at now and how I feel now.
Absolutely.
And it's like, man, like
it's night and day for sure.
You see what I'm saying? Because it's a level of wisdom. You see what I'm saying? Like that is a part of all this. You see what I'm saying? Like if Allah bless you with a certain understanding, that's a privilege.
That's my point of what I'm getting at. Don't, like, yes, you know 2 surahs. That was just an example. But if you like, I know 2 surahs, but he clean the masjid, he do this, like that is him showing it in his limbs. Me saying you know 2 surahs was just an example.
Right.
What I'm saying is you have a guy that says I'm Muslim, or a girl, whoever, say I'm Muslim, and don't do anything at all. It's kind of they just don't do nothing at all, anything pertaining to Islam. And just like, bro, like that's a whole nother thing. It's not, if it's not in your heart, it's not gonna show on your limbs.
But isn't that the beauty of Islam?
I think it's deeper than that,
right?
Though, like,
because I personally, and I had to learn just like you, I had to learn that everybody is at a different stage in their life. Everybody's at a different understanding in their life. For me, right? You have somebody who would look at me and was like, yo, that dude finished the Quran. He did this, he did that. Yo, he a sheikh. They used to do that all the time. I hated it.
Yeah.
And they used to look at me like, man, I wish I could be like him. And I used to look at that person who only knew 2 surahs.
I could be like that.
Who only knew 2 surahs.
Yeah.
And I said, I wish I could love Islam like he did.
Yeah.
And while I was saying that, I was in the club with 4 other Hafiz. I was drunk with 4 other Hafiz.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I'm saying I'm not trying to promote, I don't promote, I don't promote club, and I don't do anything like that. Alhamdulillah, I don't do any of that. I make sure I try to make my prayers on time. I do my adhkars. I try to learn from the mistakes, and I there's not a day that I don't feel bad about what I've done.
Yes.
But I have learned to accept people for where they are.
I have as well.
At any point. And what I've learned is you never know where you stand with Allah.
What would make a 20-year-old get married?
Yo, I done said too many controversial joints on this joint right now, dog. I did a lot of bad stuff, man. That's why I got married, man.
Do you feel like it calmed you down?
All right.
Or was it boxing or was it being married?
When I was a young boy, I did a lot of bad stuff. And people will say like, oh, like 19, 20, that's your prime, dog. You know, that's your prime time of your life. You can be doing XYZ. And I'm like, bro, like the stuff y'all referring to, I was doing it when I was 14 and 15 years old. I lived a very ridiculous life. And that's why I say what you love in your heart shows on your limbs. Because I knew I loved the streets and I loved money and I loved women a lot when I was a young boy. Like, I'm calling it what it is. Dog. That's why I got married early, because the life that when people like, man, when I was 19 and I was 20, dog, like I was in my prime. So, I was like, bro, no, I did that when I was 14 years old, bro.
But I think it's important to put it in the context, like being Muslim, right?
Absolutely.
I grew up in Philly as a Muslim, bro. People got this thing where they think just because you grow up Muslim, you perfect, and that's not how life works.
I don't mean it in that context.
Okay,
I mean that. I mean that as a Muslim. For somebody that is engaging in the kind of activity.
Oh, don't do it. Please don't do it, yo. Because I was depressed. All right, like, we're gonna talk about it. Like, let's talk about it for real. I was depressed. Like,
so let me. All right, wait. Let me frame it though.
Go ahead.
Like what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I'm saying that you not being Muslim, like the fact that you Muslims get married.
Yeah.
When they want to have sex with the opposite sex.
We're supposed to. Yes.
We're supposed to. Do you see yourself getting married at 19 if you're not Muslim?
With the life I live?
Yeah.
The reason why I say I don't know is because of this. I wanted to do something. I was tired and I wanted to do something new. And if I felt that same way and I wasn't Muslim, I would have probably got married too. I was tired and I wanted to do something new. Like, another thing that a lot of people don't talk about is like, Black people believe in all types of ancestors and demons, but they don't believe in the sex demons, dog. And that kills me. Like, and even in Islam, we know like shaitan are real, and like, yes, like committing, those sexual acts, like that comes with certain shaitan and all that. But like when you are Muslim, you have a different understanding of these things. And for me, I'm gonna be like 100%. Like, I became depressed and I didn't know I was depressed. And like sexual abuse, like, just for clarity, sexual abuse is not just like rape and like molestation and things like that. You can be depressed and then use people for sex, and that is a form of sexual abuse. Like, that person might like you or whatever, but like you're only just like, I'm just having sex, and afterwards you just feel overwhelmingly guilty and it doesn't fill the hole. I was outside for real. Like, I did a lot of bad stuff, and for me, it was a whole thing of like, I don't want to do this no more. Like, I'm depressed. I was so deep in the street that, like I said, it was times where I looked in the mirror and I really didn't know.
So when you say deep in the street, like, let's clarify what that is.
I can't legally do that.
Okay.
I'm not going to legally do that. But a lot of money, a good enough amount of money, and a lot of women.
Okay.
Like, yeah. So like there was a point in time where like, yeah, it was bad. Like I hit it well. I hit a lot of stuff well. So like
how old are you? So this is like, so I guess you was 20 when you got married.
I was 20 when I got married. Before then I was doing a lot of bad stuff.
And you feel like you was depressed before then?
I knew I was depressed.
Okay.
I knew I was depressed. I remember playing football with my brother. You know, my older brother.
Mm-hmm.
He was a monster at football. I remember watching his career go down the drain from an ACL tear, and he just couldn't mentally get it back together. He could have healed up and everything, but he just couldn't get it together. And I watched my brother go like down a very, very, very slippery slope.
Mm-hmm.
I can legally talk about anything he did because he's been charged. He has his felonies and stuff like that. My brother was a monster. Like in the he was a monster on the football field, and then when it crumbled, he let his life crumble, and it became that. So then he went to jail for a long time. My mom and my dad, like, they both did the best that they could, but there were times where like things was going on. And it's like, all right, money do need to be made, or things need to happen. And my brother went to jail, and like he had a pure intentions with some of the stuff he was doing, but his whole thing was like, if I don't make it with football, I'm done. And he didn't make it with football. So then his whole thing was just like, I'm tired of the heat being off. I'm tired of this. I'm tired of that. So he had good intentions with certain stuff. And granted, like, so like even my dad, if my mom would have reached out to my dad and said, yo, XYZ, my dad would have did what he could. But my mom don't have it. My mom's not that type of woman. And also like they don't really have that relationship. Like they're not enemies or nothing, but like they, you know, whatever. And so for him, it was just like, I gotta make a way. So he went to jail. And then it's just like all this stuff going on. I gotta make a way.
So this street life kind of like, was it the source of the depression, or did it fuel the depression? Do you feel like you was?
It was the source.
It was the
of
source.
my depression, because that's when I like that was that for real. And I don't even think I ever said this in front of my dad, but like just being transparent, it was a time where actually I didn't mean to, but I actually was addicted to volume for a point in time.
Okay.
I didn't mean it because I couldn't tell the difference between pain and withdrawal pain.
Right.
They're two different things, but when you don't know, you really don't know. Right. And like I had a really big problem with volume and Oxycontin pills. I had a really, really big problem with that at the time. But again, these were all times where I was just really deep into the street and I was depressed and I missed my brother. I remember it was a point in time where I used to hate looking in mirrors because I looked like my brother. Like we already looked alike, but I used to look, and I remember a point in time where I forgot what his face looked like because he was in jail for so long. And I looked in the mirror too fast and I saw his face and I cried.
You ever been in therapy?
I've had therapists.
Why the?
Because it happened for different reasons. So I had got hurt at work one time and I was fighting the case and like they told me to do therapy for like mental anguish, and like I started talking about a lot of stuff in therapy and like this stuff, it came up, and my therapist was like, you need, like, after this case, you really do need to go find a therapist too. Like, so like I did that for a little while. So like it started off there and then it branched over. Like I did go to
You
therapy.
Feel like it was helpful at all?
It was helpful. If you black, dog, find you a black therapist because they can relate. I remember when my brother came home from jail one time and like he had saw a therapist because like they made him like court order see a therapist, and then like his realization of him having PTSD was like Christopher Columbus coming across America. It was just like, I have PTSD and no one else matters. Like this is only my PTSD. Y'all don't know what I've been through. And it's like, nigga, you think you're the only person with PTSD, bro? Like you tweaking. And like that's kind of how it was for me for a little bit. I'm like, bro, like PTSD, like what does this all mean? So like it was they explained to me how trauma works and how that's why these things are the way they are. So it helped me like understand things more. And that's when I look back and I was like, wow, I was using people for sex a lot. Like I can be in a room full of women right now and have had sex with half the room and don't even know who you are anymore. I don't know your face. I don't know your name. I don't know anything about you. I'm not gonna lie. I regret the hell out of, like, if it's one thing I regret is like my sexual past. I regret the hell out of it. Now, other things that I did in my life, I don't necessarily regret because it put me where I am. But as far as my past sexual, I regret the hell out of it and I hate it.
Like right now, you know, you boxing, you know, you content creating, you know, you married. So you're 28 and you got 6 kids.
I have 6 kids.
And how many boys, how many girls?
I got 1 boy. I got 5 girls.
We understand, like, as Muslims, like being married is a big part of us engaging in faith and taking care of our families,
Yes.
taking care of our kids and stuff like that. Like what's that life like though? So from where you was at to now.
I'm poor. Not like y'all want to know the reality. Like, I'm poor, bro. I'm poor.
Are you happy poor?
I'm happily poor.
Right.
I'm where I want to be. In the sense of like, I'm in the house. Like my life is repeat. I'm in the house. I go to work. I go home, and I literally do that every single day. I don't do anything differently. Like my life is boring, but boring is good. So when I say I'm poor, I'm responsibility poor, as opposed to like when I was my past and I was outside doing bad stuff, you gotta look over your shoulder a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta look over your shoulder a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And you're not really comfortable. You're never comfortable. Like you're never comfortable. You uncomfortable all the time, and you paranoid because you gotta be. Like that's why I till this day I'm extremely paranoid. Like I'm paranoid as hell about everything. Boxing calmed me down a lot because I really did have a lot of violent tendencies when I was a kid. Like it didn't matter where we was at. If it was up, it's up, and it's just gonna be what it's gonna be. Like like we can be right there, cops parked across the street. I'ma do you if that's what it comes down to, bro. Like don't play with me. Like, but now it's like I don't have to be that way. Like now it's like, oh, like I can punch people in the face, and then they can punch me back in the face. So like, it's super cool being punched in the face because it humbles you.
You can hug them right after.
And you can hug,
you can hug them right after.
Everybody says this. They be like, "How can y'all hug each other after y'all just fought?" And it's like, bro, I love this man. Yo, like, do you know?
You respect them
So
so
you feel like
it's so much.
It's feel like it's a connection with guys that y'all fight.
It's definitely.
It is. That's probably the top two questions I get. How can you fight and you're not mad? If you fight while you're mad, you're just stupid. Don't do that because it clouds judgment. Anger clouds judgment. And then also like, how can y'all hug and oh man and be all cool after y'all just fought? Because it's just like you said, I like if I was outside right now, not talking about past outside, but like if I'm just outside in general, and like let's just say me and him just fought tooth and nail, and we got into it. Like we was in the ring, we boxed like a boom, 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 cool. And I see him out in public. Is nothing but respect. If somebody,
I got more respect for that person.
Yeah,
than anybody,
and if somebody stepped to him a certain type of way, like I'm more on the defense for him.
Absolutely,
because that's my brother. Like,
absolutely,
we only crossed paths that one time. Yeah, we shared the ring one time, but that's my brother.
And I know what you're going through.
I know. I know
what type of pain what you're willing to go through in order to do that. Caveat off of that, the happiness that you're living right now, even though you, like you say, you're poor, just on the status of what you feel, as far as what you can do better. Yeah. But in the Quran, it's a lot of people's favorite surah, but Surah Rahman, it said 37 times. Fabi ala rabbikum tukadhiban means which of the favors of your Lord will you deny? And I'm gonna say I'm proud of you just for appreciating the small favors and the big favors that Allah has given you.
It's funny you say you poor, right?
Poor.
Because there's two things that you do where people don't know that. And I know you're transparent about it because I saw one of your posts about your job, your night job, right? So you're a boxer and you create content.
Yes.
Those are two things that you do where the general public or whoever looking is like, oh, he getting it.
Yes.
Y'all know what's so cool about like social media? You can be whoever you want to be on there, and that's why I refuse to do that. So like, all right, y'all don't understand, right? When you shooting content, most of the time you need, like, let's just say you in a house and you need to use
ring lights.
I mean, we got all that stuff.
Yeah, you need a ring light.
You got all of that, right? But let's just say I need this one section of the house. Behind the camera, the house is in shambles.
But right there,
it is immaculate. People think, and that's why I do use my platform to always be like, bro, like, be real. Because with boxing, everybody got this thing where, because you boxing, you gotta like, especially when you coming up, right? You gotta like show money or like rented cars. Like, bro, I know your car. I know your car is rented, bro. I know your car is rented. I know it's not real. I know that you sharing that belt, that Gucci belt. That's your homie belt. I know it is. Y'all sharing it, bro, and it's okay. Like my car is outside. Like I have a Malibu outside with like tape on my Malibu, dog. Like and a windshield wiper messed up and all that, dog. Like I keep it a G with where I'm at. But your children eat. But my kids eat. That's all I care about. It gets me to work in the gym.
So why did you jump into content?
Because I have a problem that you guys have witnessed firsthand, where I talk, right? Like, let's put that out there. Like, I talk, and like some people like to hear what I gotta say, and other people don't. But you know what's funny about social media? The more people don't like what you say, the better you are. Social media, I've learned, is a place where if you don't have nothing nice to say, you shouldn't say it. The reason being, because when you say things that aren't nice on social media, it gets me more traction.
Feed into it.
Yeah, like, so like, you're gonna get other people that hate on me. And it's like, yes, because I need the traction. Like, I need the comments. I need all the traction because it gets me more views. The way the analytics works is the more people comment and the more people share your stuff, that's what pumps it out, because that means people are engaged with you. That's engagement. So when you hate on my stuff, it's like, yes, I need you to be negative because it helps. Negativity sells more than positivity sells, unfortunately. So I'm not saying anything wrong, but I love like how I deal with my job. You know how many people are like, oh, you a trash man, you a bum? I sure am. Thank you so much. I am a bum. I'm the biggest bum in the world. Thank you. And then I send them a kiss, especially when they're men. Oh, that's my favorite.
They hate it.
What I do is
They hate it.
With men, I always do this when they like troll my comments, like, oh, you a bum, you a trash man. I say, I sure am, daddy. And then I send them a kissing emoji. They hate that. Yo, they hate it.
At the end of the day, what is your goal? What's your main goal for your content?
One, I do want to just show my regular real life. I know real huge content creators that the numbers, you would think that their life is great and their life isn't great. And these are people who I love I love these people to death. And it's just like, I know how it feels. Right. So like, you know, so I want to give the real side of that while giving my real message as one. Two, I love my job. I enjoy my job. My job is super cool. It keeps me.
So wait, to be clear, along with boxing, you work.
A trash job. Yeah, right. I work.
So just to be clear, because I think people don't understand that, like, especially when you're starting off, boxers have jobs. Like regular people or people that don't know, that's not in the boxing world, they don't understand that unless you reach a certain level, or until you reach this level.
I fought for $200 before.
Right.
I fought for $200.
I fought for free. I had to go pay
pesos.
Well, you know, so in boxing, when you first start coming out, your first 2 or 3 fights, they're gonna be the crackhead around the corner. Everybody got him. Yeah. It might be your first 10 fights, depending on how fast they actually move you. Yeah. Your first 10 fights might be, you know, Jesus. Like literally, he make your pancakes for breakfast, go fight you, and then make your omelet for dinner. No, like we joke about it a lot, but that's the real thing. Yeah, that's what's called building a record. No matter, I don't care what champion you look at. If you look, Mike Tyson fought 15 people in 1 year. Who you think he fought?
Right.
What's that like being managed by your father, and what that means? How's that been for you, for your relationship? And you know, tell us.
Realistically speaking. And it took him a while to accept it. I'm his best friend, and he's my best friend. I love my dad like more than anybody in the world. That's my dog. That's my pop. I love my pop. That's my best friend. It's still an adjustment that I'm making with him being in the gym. And at first, I wasn't the most comfortable with him in the gym because he didn't see that he was too emotionally invested. And I'm not your son when I'm in a ring. I'm just another fighter, and you need to carry it as such. I'm not your son. Right. And he didn't realize how emotionally invested he was into me, because I tell him all the time, I don't care about what nobody else think. I don't care about nothing. I can disappoint him, and that will ruin my fight. Right. If I know that he's panicking, I cannot fight, because now I'm mentally not where I need to be. We developed better while we were in the gym together. Like now he's in my corner. You know what I mean? He's like the assistant coach in my corner as well. He's really good at it. I'm gonna be honest with you. He's good at what he does. He knows the sport of boxing, you know, so to have that knowledge is also great. But he's a great manager. Like I'm gonna be honest, I don't trust nobody with nothing involving nothing over him. Like if he don't see it, because he don't want nothing from me. I do owe him like everything, like in my career. Like I'm being transparent. Him, and also him, Naeem, and Breadman, like are top 3 guys that like because one, my dad, he believed in me before anybody. Right. Naeem went through hell and high water to give me everything he could give me.
Right.
And then when he couldn't give me any more, he still said, yo, bread man. People got this huge misconception that I don't know, like I was just, I don't know, like some undercover 30-time national
Phenom.
champion. Yeah,
Phenom.
Bro, it took my dad 3 years of, God, this guy's persistent, man. Because if I was bread man, I would have blocked him. It took this guy 3 years of hard work and staying in bread man's damn ear and just bugging him over and over again for a shot at any point. Just please, just whenever you free, just take a chance. Just train him. Just don't even train him. Just let him come to your joint for one session. It took him 3 years, and then bread man finally said, "You know what, man? I'm gonna take a shot on your son." And then it's been, mashallah, it's been good since then. But he's gave everything financially. He's gave everything emotionally. Me and him get into it all the time. But we get into it, we hang up the phone, and then 10 minutes later, sorry, Dad. Sorry, son. What's going on? And we talk about it and we get through it. That's my guy. I mean, and I'm going to be honest with you. Like I told him before, I don't care nothing about boxing if it means our relationship is hindered. I'll walk away from it all right now. I was about 17 years old, and I sat in the car with my dad, and I remember I was just going through it. I actually cried because I was frustrated as all. My brother was in jail. Everything was falling on me. And you know what my dad said to me? He said, your brother is my brother, because he also has an older brother. He said, your older brother is just like my older brother. And you know what that means? All of this falls on you. My brother did the same thing your brother did, and it all fell on me. He said, whether you want to accept it or not, get yourself together and accept it. And I remember that conversation. I said, from that day, I said, damn, we live the same life. The same people that he was taking care of, now he got to do everything that he doing with my career. So the stuff that he was handling before, like for my aunt D, who, you know, she doesn't get around much, stuff like that, she needs help. He was doing that. That stuff got passed down to me because he got bigger fish to fry. So now I got to handle that stuff. So the way that he had to take care of his folks is the way that I got to do for mine. Because my brother was his older brother.
People that want to check you out, where they check you out at?
JYD_world. That's my boxing page. That's really my main focus page. My content page is called Diary of Doing Stuff, because I'm just always doing stuff there. So that was the best name.
It's on Instagram.
And it's on Instagram. Also, I'm not on nothing else really except for Instagram at the moment. Like I'm focusing on Instagram. So Instagram, JYD_world. That's where you're gonna keep up with all my boxing perspectives, keeping it real, whole 9 yards. Diary of Doing Stuff. That is my that's my content. That's my skit content page. So it's cool.
Who your top 3 boxers
of all time or right now?
All time.
Oh man, y'all put me in. All right, I'm gonna be honest. Pacquiao. I'm gonna say Pacquiao. I love Manny Pacquiao. I love Manny Pacquiao so much, dog. I love Manny Pacquiao. All right. I love Mike Tyson as well. I'm gonna throw Mike Tyson as one of my favorites. And I'm gonna throw Mike Tyson as one of my favorites, and I'm gonna say, who is my third? My third would have to be one of my favorites, dog. Probably Roy Jones, and that's like 3 of my all-time favorite. But like if we talking about current day to day, Canelo is one of my favorites.
If you could share the ring with any fighter, who would it be?
Just because I really do love that man that much, man. I'm a fan. I ain't gonna lie. Like I don't fanboy over like anybody. But Pacquiao, dog, like, I just want to be in the ring with him. Like, thank you, my good sir. Love Pacquiao, dog.
What's your favorite slang word?
Nigga.
What's your favorite Philly slang word?
Wow.
It would have to be John.
John
is a sturdy John, man. Because like other places, they be saying like joint with like a and not like the joint.
We say joint.
Yeah, I don't.
In Baltimore,
yeah,
we say
know.
joint.
John is a noun, person, place, thing. Anything can be a John. Like, anything is a John. Like.
All right, so we know like early on, like you went through a lot.
Yeah.
You know, and those teenage years and stuff like that. But I want you to kind of think back before that a little bit.
Okay.
What did you want to be when? Like, what did you want to be?
I laughed about this the other night to my wife. I was dumb. I didn't want to be. I could have thought more of myself. Like, I want to be an architect. They make money. I said I want to be a construction worker. I wanted to have back-breaking labor because I just was like a dumb kid. Like, come on, bro.
That's all right.
I wanted to be a construction worker.
Be a construction. You know, some construction workers, depending on what they do, make millions.
They do make millions, and then they have a bad back, and then it be rough sometime, man.
But they happy though, like they said.
Sometime.
They happy.
I know you like into video games and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
What's the top game you ever played?
Yo, that's a crazy question. Like currently I only play Call of Duty. Like I'm in Spider-Man. Like I only play Call of Duty and Spider-Man currently, and God of War right now. Those are the only 3 games I play. But 98% of the time it's Call of Duty. The top game I ever played in my life. All right, let me see. Is a game that came with the original Xbox. It was on one half of the disc, it was Gran Turismo, but on the other half, it was a game called Jet Set Radio Future.
Oh man,
I love Jet Set Radio. It was a skating game, like a rollerblade.
I remember that game.
Oh,
They also had Fusion Frenzy.
They did have Fusion Frenzy as well.
That joint was tough.
And I love
Jet Set when young boys unite. y'all fist bumping and everything.
Fusion Frenzy.
Fusion
Listen,
Frenzy was a good joint.
we can be the toughest people in the ring. We knock people out for a living.
No.
It's great to have.
I do think showing the contrast
Yeah.
between the fighter and the art and the
Yes.
love and all of
Yeah.
that, man. I think
For
it's
sure.
important for people to see, man. So I appreciate you coming on,
Yeah,
man.
definitely,
It's been a
man.
great show.
Very interesting.
Get it
show.
out, man. Third Party Podcast, Season 2, Episode 6.
Bismillah.